was in collaboration with New Narratives, and funding was provided by Clean Air Fund, which had no say whatsoever in the story's content. Well, let's explore that further. Joining me now is Dr. Elvis Jabor. He is the portfolio manager for Breathe Cities Accra, and he joins the conversation as we just look at some of the key things that have come up and why exactly we should pay attention to this. We're expanding the conversation a bit. Just a little background as to what they do. Breathe Accra has supported several organizations to collect air quality data, and based on that data, we're having a conversation here on the Pulse. We appreciate your time. You've been doing your digging, and based on the data you have, I'm wondering how dire is the situation here in Accra?
Thank you very much. Currently, what we would say is the current numbers on the air pollution situation in Accra shows that annually 32,000 people die as a result of air pollution-related diseases. What it means is that we're recording more deaths from air pollution in Ghana as compared to COVID, which put the whole nation on lockdown, as compared to HIV on an annual basis. So we do have some shocking numbers when you look at them. And it's not news when we look at the activities that is around us, the vehicle fumes that we see on the roads, the construction management that we see. It's obvious that not much or enough is not being done to arrest the problem of air pollution. And that is what has informed most of the work that we've been doing, as well as the reports that was done by PSS Albania on air pollution across the city of Accra.
And then based on your research, what are the biggest drivers really for air pollution, especially in the capital?
We can stick to three key ones: biomass and waste burning. It's so indiscriminate that it's not something you can associate with a specific neighborhoods. In that if you go to areas like Abofu, if you go to areas like Nima, like Ashaiman, there's significant waste burning. But interestingly, if you go to areas like Cantonment, Airport Residential, there is also biomass burning, where they are burning vegetation from grass and tree cuts and hedge cuts. And so almost every part of this city has some form of either waste or biomass being burnt, polluting the air. Next to that is a high number of vehicles we have in the city. These vehicles are often poorly serviced, they are old vehicles, and they emit a lot of fumes. These fumes contain particulate matter 2.5, which is highly dangerous to children, pregnant women, older generation, and people with underlying conditions like asthma and other respiratory-related diseases. The third of this is when it comes to construction and road dust. There's a lot of construction within the city, such that the way it's managed becomes a menace. Key of them currently is what's happening on the Tema motorway. Dust from the motorway construction is so much that you can literally see the dust build up if you stood there for more than 30 minutes. It was not any different when construction was happening on the Pokwasi stretch. And it's not just the road constructions. Then there's the building constructions. Then there's the untarred roads, which also contributes to air pollution. These are the three top sources of air pollution within the city of Accra.
And then just looking at how dire the situation is, how can I even protect myself? Is there a way to ensure that the air I'm inhaling is even clean?
There's what we can do. And for the work that we're trying to do, what we're telling people is it's not just government coming in to do something all the time. It's also the little you can do. When you step out to go from one area to the other or one location to your destination, there are tools you can use now in Accra, provided by the EPA, provided by the work that Breathe Cities and Clean Air Fund are doing, where you can go on breatheaccra.org and it will tell you the pollution level at where you are and even at where you're going. And you can be able to tell if you need to wear a nose mask, if you need to protect yourself. The other option is the EPA has a website called AQIinfo-GH, which was launched last month, where they provide air pollution data for Tema and parts of Accra. This also tells us about pollution levels. And so when you decide to move from point A to point B, the first and basic protection you can use for yourself, if you're not in an area that has controlled air like air condition, you can get a nose mask. It can protect you to a long way. There's also our children in schools who play on fields that are not grassed or vegetated. What it means is that for most periods that children spend in school, they are breathing in air that is polluted. And key example is the Kwashiman cluster of schools. Construction and bare parks around the school means that children go to school to get education and end up missing school because of air pollution issues. And these are things which have become almost non-negotiable, that it's important for parents, for everyone to say, if you see someone burning around you, you don't need the government to come and tell them. You should find a nice way and tell them, can you please not burn? It's causing a lot of health issues to pregnant women, to children, to the elderly. And so we can do something collectively, whilst we are hoping that the government will find the needed resources to address this on a policy level and on a national level. In our own small ways, we can wear a nose mask. We can tell our driver, can you please go service your vehicle so it doesn't smoke so much? These are some of the little things we can do to protect ourselves.
And then you made mention of something that really got me concerned. Sitting under the air condition for so long, like I do myself, does that put me at risk?
Sitting under the air condition protects you from the dust. If we're looking at just air pollution.
Okay.
However, what it becomes is that there are other pollutants that you are going to be exposed to, like aerosols, because when you don't ventilate your room, if you have an issue of radon, which is a radioactive gas, you could be poisoning yourself also. And so it's not advisable that you stay continuously in an air-conditioned room without any ventilation. It's mostly advisable that if your office or home is air-conditioned, periodically open the windows, let's get some fresh air coming in to ventilate the place so you can breathe in air that is not polluted from other indoor sources of air pollution.
I see, quite interesting. But then as Breathe Africa, you also, I see you have a target yourself. You want to reduce air pollution by some 30%. How is that project ongoing, and so far what have you been able to achieve?
So Brief Cities is an initiative that's between Bloomberg Philanthropies, Clean Air Fund, and C40 cities. In Africa, we're currently in Accra, in Nairobi, and then also in Johannesburg. We're hoping that by focusing on cities that has high population numbers, we're going to be able to protect the large majority of the population. We're also going to be able to achieve a lot more, because cities are becoming a concentrated area where you will find out 4 million, 5 million people living within a defined space. What it means is that if you are able to reduce air pollution in that defined space, you protect a lot more lives in the end. It's been a great success so far. We didn't have data for most of these cities. Over time, we're getting the best.
OJ, Elvis, we seem to be losing you. If you can reposition rightly and just make that point again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear now.
Okay. What I was saying was that over time, what we've done in the last 2 years is to get the needed baseline data, which will let people know how they're being exposed to air pollution. It is also to create awareness among people of different levels. So we do have activations in transport stations, we have activations in offices, we have activations in markets, and we do have trainings for public officials to train them to create that awareness and to bring it to their attention that the air you're breathing in, which is essential to life, has to be protected at the end of the day.
And ultimately,
ultimately, we are hoping we can have some policy changes that will drive the action and help us achieve clean air in these cities and across the country as a whole.
And that's where I was going to, because I was just wondering at what point government can come on board, because we're looking at the different policy changes that must occur, as well as enforcement changes that must occur to ensure that Ghana and Africa and even Accra is on track. From where you sit, what policy changes can government adopt, or enforcement changes can we deploy moving forward?
It's actually with a lot of joy talking about this. In the last 12 months, at the beginning of the year, the Ghana EPA Act was passed, which made the EPA move from being an agency to an authority. In September 2025, they passed the Air Pollution Management Regulation. That regulation being passed meant that government is supposed to monitor air quality across the country. Government is supposed to keep a database of air pollution. Districts are supposed to be monitoring air quality, and they're supposed to enforce activities that would pollute the air such that our air is protected. So we have a wonderful policy which we're hoping can be enforced and can be mainstreamed. As part of that regulation, there's supposed to be a development of a national air quality policy enshrined in that regulation. Ultimately, there are timelines to achieving these regulation targets. And we're hoping that the agency and other government stakeholders would be able to completely implement and enforce these regulations so we can see the success by protection of human health and also by enjoyment of the quality of life by citizens in the country.
Thank you so much, Dr. Elvis, for your time here on The Pulse. Well, we just brought you that story. It was in collaboration with New Narratives. Funding was provided by Clean Air Fund, and they had no say in the story's content. Now we're focusing here on how our air can be cleaner and better for us, especially in the